This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by HostGator. Coming up, Curt Shilling's game studio has finally come out with the RPG Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning.
Today we're talking about Kingdom of Amalur: Reckoning, which is a new action RPG from a powerhouse team. You know how sometimes in the world of music you'll have like the best guitarist and the best lead singer from a different band and the best bassist from a different band, the best drummer, and they create a supergroup. And often that supergroup sucks. It's like, why does the supergroup suck? Well, we're gonna find out if that's the case here because Curt Shilling and his 38 Studios. 38 was his number, right? That's the right number.
Yeah, 38, yeah, sure.
He pulled together R.A. Salvatore to design stuff, Todd McFarlane to draw stuff, Ken Rolston, the designer of Oblivion and Morrowind, to come in and be the executive producer. Super team to create what he wanted, which is an RPG. Curt is a big RPG fan, MMOs in particular, and you can definitely see the MMO influence here. And what we get is a sprawling action RPG of a huge size and scale. A lot of people have been calling it Skyrim Light, which I think is not too far off. Dan, tell me what you thought of Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning, which is a kind of an unwieldy title.
It is. All the names are not very good in the game, as a matter of fact, I think.
So that's
including with Amalur, including with Amalur, that title. I think it's a really good game that I fell in love with. I played 16 hours.
So you barely scratched the surface.
I know, it's a 70-hour
like
game.
22
and I've been doing a lot of the side and faction quests, and I just, late last night, went back and do some of my main quests, and I'm so overpowered for my main quests, and I realized, oh wow, I spent way too much. I should have been...
What class are you playing?
Fighter.
Awesome. And what weapons are you
using? Played the demo as a magic user. What weapons am I using? Well, the interesting thing is I did a lot of hammer and bow, and then I realized, wait a second, because you have a primary weapon and a secondary weapon, and I thought that the secondary weapon was for bow. You know, I just thought that's for my ranged bow. And I realized, oh my god, wait, I could do super fast thing. So I use those awesome
Daggers?
blade. No,
Feyblades.
No, not Feyblades. Chakras.
Oh, those are my jam,
awesome.
dude. As a magic user,
Yeah,
I'm all about the
awesome.
chakras.
Oh, they must be, yeah.
Chakrams?
They're called Dragon Eyes, or they're purple. So, speaking of purple, it really is an offline MMO. It just functions in the same way that MMOs. The way I'm picking up quests and going on those quests, and the way that you operate in the world, it just feels like an MMO. The graphics feel similarly to the graphics aren't stunned. This is why the graphics are really good. The score is really good. The fight mechanic is really good. I actually really do love that's why I love this game.
That's where it's very different from an MMO.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Very different.
And different than Skyrim. That's why I'm preferring this to Skyrim in many ways. It doesn't have the beauty, even though Skyrim isn't as beautiful as I want it to be. It doesn't have the beauty of Skyrim, doesn't have the music of Skyrim, doesn't have quite the world of Skyrim. And if it did, this would be my favorite game ever. But it has close to it. But the fighting mechanic and the looting, it also feels like a Torchlight dungeon crawler. Just with I'm bashing every crate I can see, and like I said, looting and waiting for awesome drops, and then building awesome crap. And I mean, it functions all the ways. It combines all the combines the coolest element of dungeon crawlers, combines the coolest elements of MMOs but taking it offline, and it takes those elements from a massive game like Skyrim. You know, but compared to the Fable series, I mean, unfortunately the story isn't as good, but the story isn't great. But the voice acting, I think, is exceptional. So,
Alexander.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of the things that Dan said, I agree with. I think one of the things that Dan missed talking about, which I think is the thing that blows my mind the most about this game, is the leveling and class mechanic. that it is sort of hot swappable, that you're not
Yeah.
choosing to be a rogue at the beginning and playing the first 5 levels. And not only is it that you can choose your fate literally as, do I want to be a roguish guy? Do I want to be a magic guy or a fightery warrior guy or girl? But that it does something really amazing. That in and of itself is brilliant and mind-blowing, and I love it because that's one of the most frustrating things that I have is playing the first 5 to 10 levels of every class in a game just to figure out the one that I really love.
Yeah, it's very
and also Mass Effect for you. You played through the entire game and most of it, we were just like, well, you were the wrong class the entire game, and it's like...
Yeah, it's totally counterintuitive, a lot of these role-playing games, especially traditional role-playing games, where it's like, okay, you haven't played anything yet.
Right.
Decide your fate.
And that is
like,
the second
but I
thing.
don't know anything.
But that's the second thing that this game does, which is brilliant, which is you're not seeing a video and reading what you will be doing. You don't have to go, I'm going to play a warlock, and then after the 10 levels, you're like, God, I feel like I'm just hitting the warlock button all the time. The first tutorial level is, hey, grab a sword. This is, now you're fighting like a fighter. Okay, grab a shield, block. Okay, that fight. You now know how fighter plays.
Yeah.
Hey, that dead guy over there has a bow. Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, that's how they do bow mechanic? Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, grab these daggers. You know what? If you press this button, you go into stealth. That's how they handle stealth in this game? Well, that's really fun. Here's how do you do magic. And all the stuff leading you to go, just decide whatever you want to do, and you can switch it. You can change at any time.
What character did you end up being?
I am doing a rogue, so I've got the
that's
dual
interesting.
blades, stealth,
cool?
arrow. Oh, it's great, man. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
The only
a little
thing
bit
I
of
want to
magic.
say to devil's advocate that is that when you get deep into the game, as much as they encourage you, you can switch it up, you get new fake cards, you can't though. Because all your items that you just, you can't really...
Get your house,
Yeah, but you're
throw 'em in your
constantly,
house.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
constantly
yeah,
getting
you can,
other
but then
items.
you can't carry
well,
enough stuff.
So
but-
anyway, so yes, but if you go, I'm now bored with this,
Yeah.
I want to be that, you
But your
can start
abilities, you're
going.
leveling up all those...
You can pay money
reset.
to
You can pay to redo
respect.
it. That's
The
true.
whole point,
But then-
and that's
I don't know. Yeah.
and so like Arkham City, where I said if you're a third-person brawler, you use this combat system. Do yourself a favor, steal this combat system. I feel the exact same way with the leveling and class mechanic of this game. If you're making an RPG nowadays, steal this idea because this is such a great way because you're not punishing people for choosing something with no information because you haven't given them any information. That said, the combat is super fun. Really have a great time playing this game. Where it falls apart for me is where it really shows its sort of offline MMO-ness. Most MMOs, I can power through because I know my friends are going to be there and they'll see me do cool stuff, which is why I love MMOs. But I never love powering through a thing, and their cinematics are atrocious. I mean, they're really 90% of the cinematics are 2 shots, and then somebody just sort of moving their mouth. You don't hear what your character says in any of this stuff. Maybe you get some gestures, but there's nothing happening. You don't even see people walk up to you in most cinematics in this game. The main
really
I wouldn't call
storyline.
those cinematics. I would just call them dialogue moments.
Yeah, but in
there are
RPGs,
cinematics.
they would be small little cinematics to pick up the side quests. It wouldn't just be cut to 2-shot in it's basically like Puzzle Quest, except somebody's reading the
Well, it's the same as like
thing.
Mass Effect, where it's not the cinematic of like.
No, but the guy
are
comes.
storytelling
If you
cinematics,
grab
but
somebody, the guy comes running up, and it feels more alive. It doesn't feel like just
Sort of,
people like their mouths moving into the thing. So the story really kind of lost me. I didn't really have fun with the story per se, but the combat and the leveling stuff and the abilities and the loot mechanic, the looting is really, they really nailed everything I picked up. I was like, I can do that? You know what I mean? So I had a great time playing.
I really disagree with you guys about the story. I thought it was superbly written and head and shoulders above most fantasy video games. The quests are almost all really interesting, even though they're sort of standard. They're always presented in a very interesting way, and the characters are memorable for the most part. And I love the concept of this game where you start as a dead body. I mean, this isn't a spoiler. This is literally the first part of the game. You start as a dead body and you're resurrected, and then it's like figure out
what you're supposed to do and why you were resurrected. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, really cool. I love how it, as you said, filters you into the game. I want to pick up on something you said, because you kept going, well, it's sort of like this game, but it's also sort of like this game, and it's also sort of like this game. That is the feeling of this game, start to finish for me. It's like a smorgasbord of all these other. It feels a little bit like Fable.
Yep.
It feels a little bit like a Ninja Gaiden type video game. It feels a lot like Skyrim. It feels a lot like an MMO. It's like
Darksiders. I mean, you get that sort of combo.
yeah, a little
connected
Zelda.
thing. Yeah.
I applaud the idea of let's take from all the best bits of something, but unfortunately, it adds up to something that doesn't quite feel like it has its own voice. I like this game a lot. I am hooked on it, and I didn't expect to be. It does feel insubstantial in a lot of ways, and I think it's based on a few really odd design decisions. For example, I think the character's natural movement speed is way too fast, especially when you're dealing with stuff like traps, where you'll just sort of like bound into things. It just feels insubstantial. And I appreciate the fact that I can get around the screen much quicker, but it just makes things feel less substantial. And there's a gravitas that you need with RPGs, especially in the light, in the shadow of Skyrim. If this game had come out much farther apart from Skyrim, I feel like I would have a slightly different opinion on it, but it's unfortunately the case that especially with how similar it is to that game in a lot of ways, that it's informed by that.
Don't you think, in some ways, I appreciate this game more because Skyrim, I don't think anyone thinks is a perfect. I think there's some frustrations in Skyrim that this
absolutely
answers.
This is a much more accessible game than Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's a much more accessible game in a lot of ways, and chief among them is a great combat system. Is a really fun combat system, and being able to like have finishing moves that add to your XP. It's great, but like running around and seeing glowy bits. On anything that's active has little sparkles shooting off of it like you're in an MMO. That makes the world seem insubstantial. It makes the world seem more cartoony and less grounded and less real. And when you have something like Skyrim out there that feels like, oh, it's really lived in, nothing in this game feels really lived in, which is a really shame because I think the narrative, the world is so well designed, so fleshed out. All the different factions all have relationships to each other in a much the same way that Skyrim's world feels authentic. It feels like, oh, this stuff is going on without me being a part of it.
Yeah, that's what I meant by it was a little bit too MMO-y.
Yeah.
Because for me, there's most MMOs, I mean, SWTOR's a little different, but for me, most MMOs, I sort of have to get through the picking up a quest, and I don't really care, I'm just gonna go do it, to get the cool stuff so that when my friends come on, we can talk and have fun while just sort of powering through stuff. You know what I mean?
If the dialogue trees also felt very insubstantial, but if this had the graphical...
why does half the space need to be black?
I know, why do I even need to...
But you don't, my decisions of what I'm going to say don't
mean
seem to
anything. They don't really mean anything.
But if this had the technical graphics and artistry conceptually that Mass Effect has for the sci-fi universe.
I think you're talking about art design more than graphics, because graphically
I didn't think graphically looked that great. It didn't.
I think it looks pretty
I was just playing
good.
Gears 3 again. I'm like, that game's freaking stunning. By the way, revisiting it, not that it's from that long ago, but this didn't look as good as Skyrim. And I didn't think Skyrim looked that good. Maybe we're playing on 360. Maybe it looks different.
That's true. On PC, it probably does look a lot better. But I think what you're talking about, it's a very colorful world.
No, I think both. I'm saying both. That's what I meant. Technically, Mass Effect, that shit looks like a rendered cut, amazing, beautiful. This game does not look beautiful. It looks like WoW to me. It didn't look that great technically. And then also the art design that it's like close, but it's not quite.
Close,
I think it's also the placement of the camera. Like your character is so large, the camera is placed like a third-person action game.
Definitely want to zoom
out. So you
out.
never get that feeling that you often feel in Skyrim and other in Mass Effect, where you walk into a place and it's like, oh wow, the majesty. But I play a lot of
Skyrim third-person and the character model. That's the best part. Skyrim.
But the camera is in a different place in relation to your character.
Maybe so, but the character looks better. Like it's crisper. It's the rendering on him. Something.
Well, it sounds like
you do have a really terrible television.
It sounds like we all loved liked the game some more than others. I enjoyed the combat, but I wouldn't.
The game.
I love the game too. Despite its flaws, I love the game. Would I play it over Skyrim? I don't think so. But it's so much more accessible than that game in a lot of ways, and the combat is very fun.
Yeah,
it's more fun to play than Skyrim. It's more fun to play than a lot of other role-playing games that we've.
Oh yeah, and that's that combat. And
it's a different pace. It's like +1 to pacing.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, HostGator.com can get your blog or website up and running in just minutes with plans starting as low as $3.96 a month. You can get 24/7 support, access to the website building tool with over 4,000 templates. They'll even migrate your old site over to their sites for free, which is amazing. We've talked about this. We've talked about this on the show a lot. The servers are 130% powered by wind energy, like Jeff's hair. Which means they have extra energy to give people.
Alex's hair is really the one.
I got a lot of extra wind energy stored in my hair.
It's actually coming out.
Unlimited disk space and bandwidth, 45-day money-back guarantee, $100 Google AdWords credit to market your site, and for TRS viewers, HostGator is offering you 25% off your order or your first month completely free. Just go to HostGator.com and enter the coupon code Totally Rad Show when you check out. Bing, check out.
Hey, send in your backgrounds, fans at TotallyRadShow.com.
And buy clothing, jinx.com/TRS.
Join us tomorrow for our review of the movie The Secret World of Arrietty.
AJ Minotti sent in this Twitter question. If you were a transformer, what vehicle would you transform into?
Well, here's tricky.
This is tricky.
Because my gut instinct is to immediately go jet, helicopter, something, but that makes me a Decepticon. Nobody wants to be a Decepticon.
Well, all
but
right.
my immediate reaction is I want to go jet, I want to fly, I want to go helicopter, I want to fly, but can't be an Autobot.
Okay.
Can't be a good guy.
Well, all
Gotta
right.
be evil Starscream.
Well, all right.
So that
so
puts
what are
me
you
up
gonna
a
do?
creek.
You're gonna get and make a canoe or something so you can be up that creek comfortably?
Submarine.
Submarine.
No, I definitely want to fly.
I thought about submarine, but then
What was it?
I'm not a good swimmer.
The submarine it's falling. It's going back up. It's falling.
No.
What's wrong?
The correct answer is a white Jetta, so that I can be ridden around by girls all day.
Dan.
That's the right answer.
You're not going to go cabriolet?
That's a better answer.
A white cabriolet with a red leather interior.
They both suffice.
I'm definitely gonna go. I mean, I gotta go because moon-based train. Like that's the stupidest thing of all of them. The moon-based train. What was that guy's name? Not
Metroplex?
No, the guy who actually was a moon base and had a train that went around him. Yeah.
Moon-based train.
Literally, I can't remember what the hell the guy's name was.
moon-based
I had him, and he was like
train.
gigantic.
Metroplex
I'll
is
look
a
it up.
city. That's
Yes.
kind of cool. Talking about having girls in you. Wow.
Yeah, we'll have to look.
And guys, unfortunately.
Oh my God, you're just like, oh, get out of me!
Girls only city, assholes.
Metroplex, it's ladies' night. Get out of here, jerk off. I'm gonna go with plane, helicopter. I mean, I gotta go with helicopter. I was gonna go jet, but then I was like, but you can't hover in a jet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you love hovering
You have to
awkwardly.
land. I mean, you have to really kind of land in
guys.
like good places. Although
What if
theoretically,
you're
you have
the
jet.
True Lies? What's it called? The hovering jet?
Oh yeah,
what is that called?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We know things.
The hovering jet. You know, from
thing.
True
Yeah,
I
Lies.
know it's
It's not True Lies. It's a real
has the-
military
no, it's a
vehicle.
I know, yeah.
So what's it called? Jet?
Although you know what, I think the F-22 Raptor has some vertical
Like, what's that
levitation
called?
stuff. So let's say F-22
So you're-
Raptor,
so you're
even though
going
that's
with-
not what it is.
You're going with dinosaur.
I'm going with dinosaur. I'm going with rock. Remember those guys?
Rock? No, that was GoBots versus Rock Lords.
Yeah.
I love
I'm gonna go with
Rock Lords.
Rock
I had
Lord.
so many Rock
I'm
Lords.
just gonna be like a rock.
At least you're not like a rock
Yeah, but
peasant.
I can hide around girls
rock biter.
like
A rock
bathing
biter?
naked.
This girl's bathing on me.
Oh, you're looking that up? What about the True Lies jet?
All right, we're done.
All right, thank you at AJ Guy.